Hiya, Sean Shears here, and what we're talking about today is my EP so far and where I'm heading in the future. As some of you may have noticed, I've launched a new website at www.seanshears.com, and I've launched it with a young multimedia sort of aspiring filmmaker, website designer, multimedia mogul, and he's only 20 odd, but he's done a fantastic job, and we've managed to set up an online shop and blah blah blah. But the point is that we've what we're trying to do with this is take this to the next level, and it forced me to really look at the work that I'd done and look at the work that I'd done prior to the work that I've already done that's already out there on iTunes. So basically, what I'm trying to say is it made me look at my work as a whole and go, where are you heading? And how do you want to record that journey to where you're heading to? Now, for me as a songwriter, I think a lot of people are going to know me as, hey, you're Sean Shears, you wrote Wheelchair Sex, you wrote Sample Man, ha ha ha, you wrote The Heckler, ha ha ha, you wrote this, and it's that's fine. If they want to say, oh yeah, you made us laugh, that's great. But to be honest with you, before that was never my intention. On Wheelchair Sex to Philosophy, there are songs like Pictures, Circles, Women for Emotion, One No Song, which were meant to be, or are, a lot deeper songs than they are. Pictures is about my little sister painting pictures for me whilst I'm in rehab. Circles is about me going into the wheelchair, so that's a nice moment for everybody, I'm sure. Wheelchair Sex is obvious, but there is a real darkness to Wheelchair Sex because people just think, oh yeah, well, he just wasn't getting laid. No, I was getting told why I wasn't getting laid by women, so that kind of sucked big time. And yeah, One Note Song is one of those things where you don't want to stay stagnant, but you realise you kind of are. And almost as a musician, you don't want to be Phoebe from Friends, but it's also this ongoing hope that your life might be more than what you thought it could be. A Woman with Her Emotion is about the foster kids we had come through our door when I was living at my mum's, and the foster kids we had, and that was basically that. Dylan and Philosophy was about sort of a relationship hanging together by one thing that you may have in common with someone else, and how that one thing may not be the answer to everything, which seems to be a recurring theme in my songs to some extent. But yeah, that was, a lot of these songs occurred when I was under the influence of prescribed drugs. That being said, one thing I will say about those songs is that they are what they are, and I've had terrible trouble remembering sort of moments and stuff like that, and chord progressions, etc., which has really baffled me to some extent. But that's cool because I can't do anything about that. So when Sample Man came about, I looked at Wheelchair Sex like, you've got some great songs there, and you've already got some press over this, and it sold really well for me in physical form, not so much in digital form, but sold really well for me. So Sample Man comes along, straight away I noticed that people were seeing the iPod and not me, the artist, first of all. So that's what Sample Man's about. We have songs like Wounded Soldier, which have been adapted from old chord progressions that I got, which were like, at this point, 12 years old. We had songs like The Heckler, which were completely new, which were written on the xylophone of my iPhone, which are actually based upon real events that occurred, so go and see the video, you'll figure it out for yourself. No Time Is Wasted, which was a 3-chord Johnny Cash song initially, and basically what happened there was we stuck a bit of the beat within the key change of All You Need Is Love, that sort of era, the experimental era, and a Rush the Skank beat in there, and it just seemed to catch light, and that is Mike Taylor's magic at its very best. We have moments on it with Jay Luke, where he was just like the man, the only voice. The outro was just probably one of the best experiences I've ever had, because to have someone who works with Jules Holland and the BBC and etc. going to be, how did you play that? And then you're there going, here, this is how I did it, that's pretty cool. But take my ego out of it, we had the live experiences before and in between Wheelchair Sex Philosophy with me and Brody Cleater with Woke Up With You and The Retreat. Basically that EP had so many songs on it, Now we move on to Story, the single in between that, and the thing that made this song interesting was my normal go-to guy wasn't feeling it, didn't quite understand it, so I took it. It's not that he understood, he just wasn't feeling it. Everything was based around selling this riff in the middle and making it feel funky and building it into saying that it blatantly wasn't in its creation, and Lou Stonehill was the right man to go to for that. So I went to him and we put together, we went from chopsticks, which I could show any of your kids or any of you how to play on keyboard, and we went from that to something that was far more complex. And at this time I was still playing Sample Man, but the thing is, times have changed, we're going about things a different way, but the thing is, Story was just a nice way to round off the set. It was a powerful ballad, and it was about sort of how we can be in the most dismal of circumstances and still look for a silver lining. Hence the line, the world may mock our dreams, but we are just human beings. And as contrite or whatever as that may sound, there's nothing more truer than that. But I think the Descendancy's in it, and I think that the feel in it when it lowers and when it rises up is actually quite remarkable, and I'm so impressed at how, at its very basic, it's very simple. Moving on to the current EP, which is Small Rooms and Of The Moment tunes, which, as they were written, which is exactly what it says on the tin. They were tunes written in small rooms, and they were of the moment, and they were as they were written. So, for me, songs like, for example, There's This Girl I Know, I've played it since then, but it's never had the same resonance as what it had on that recording. Songs like Cecil the Lion, which were, a lot of these songs have been recorded because a lot of my friends I initially recorded them with, like Dan Harlow in Japan, his son, I think he really wanted his son to hear, some guitar work that he'd done. So I was like, okay, instead of it being this snap recording, let it be this snap recording instead. So, but also, they, it had done me well, it had been received well by live crowds, so obviously for him, he's not picked up a guitar since, so it's good for him to be recognised in that sense. Same thing with John Shepherd and Cecil the Lion. His son was born on my birthday, and really I wanted to commemorate that, and I'd never tried writing a child's song, and I didn't know that Cecil the Lion had met his unfortunate end with the dentist, so I wrote it from how I saw it at the time, and the whistling was replaced by harmonica playing, much to your delight. But yeah, there are other songs, and they're like, Fragile Mind, I doubt I'm ever going to play that again because there's so many changes in it, and it was done literally with Bryony saying, I gotta go. And, I've got to catch a bus in 5 minutes. So within the minutes that you hear is literally what we wrote. We'd been practicing a picking pattern all that time. That it really wasn't a simple picking pattern. I had to make it difficult, didn't I? And then the rest was just instinct, and we worked from there. The other song, Under Her Spell, was part of a live jam that I kicked off at a place called the Hamptons, which is now a popular food chain, Mango Type. Many other food chains are available, and the thing I liked about that was my harmonica playing on that was not me at my best, but relatively, it just proved that I could hang in there as a musician. So anyone who doubts me as a musician can listen to that minute and a half, 2 minutes of music and go, wow. And I think there's a lot of bands, a lot of artists that would pray to have that on their books, to be quite fair. So I did a lot of remastering on my own, and it's the first EP that I really produced on my own. The next EP I'm heading towards, it's a lot more. The initial reaction I've got off people like Ryan Sharkey is, ditch wheelchair sex, you now own serious ground. And from other people, it's a lot more deeper. I don't know. One thing I've learned with of the moment tunes and small rooms or whatever, is that basically there's a direct balance there. You listen from start to finish with Chill, which was just me and my band, me and the band I was in at the time that would just happen to be recorded, and it just sort of happened as it did. It was a happening, and everything on that EP was essentially a happening, just there and there. So you can't replicate certain things, and that's what I've realised with those songs. But where I'm heading now is there's more of I know what I'm selling. I know, not that I know what I'm selling, but I know what I want the songs to not just be about, but I know what holds those songs together compositionally. And I couldn't tell you that before. So now I'm looking at what other songs might go well alongside that. Because it's alright to say, well, I have 5-6 songs that are ready to go. But if they're all 5-6 songs that are all different, there's no point sticking them on an EP, because if one is a waltz and one is a heavy rock song, it's not going to go. It's not going to balance, and it doesn't matter how much instrumental, how much atmosphere, whatever you do in between. It's still not going to balance. So the biggest thing for me is to make the next EP or the next two, if it has to go that far, be balanced and be listenable for the listener, and particularly because we're in the iTunes generation where nobody can wait for Jack, which is fair enough, and they'll pick the songs they want to pick. I want them to pick these songs straight away. That won't happen because I'm not Drake, I'm not Jay-Z, and I'm certainly, last time I checked, not Lady Gaga. Oh, I might be. Oh no, it's just a bit smaller than usual. Anyway, I will catch with you later, but that was just my rundown on how things are. Hopefully we'll have a new EP for you soon. The songs are sounding good, and I'll update you on that. But thanks for the EP history so far. Bye.